Welcome to Your Health is Wealth with Katz, alongside my co-host, Dr. Loreena Ryder. We're here to help you navigate your journey to wellness, but we like to do it simply without all of that horrible, confusing medical terminology that everybody hates. We are here to provide practical solutions to your health issues that allows your body's healing systems to do the work for you. It's simple, it's natural, and it works. If you're still struggling with your health, you can come see us at Naturopathic Physicians Group to help get your life back.
Topic of the day today, because we assume everyone is exhausted, we're going to be talking about coffee. Because you might be consuming more than you typically would. So first off, let's just define coffee. It is a beverage prepared from roasted coffee beans, dark colored, bitter, slightly acidic. It has a stimulating effect on humans, primarily because of its caffeine content, and it has the highest sales in the world market for hot drinks. The stimulating effects of coffee was actually discovered by a goat herder in Ethiopia who noticed that his goats were particularly alert after consuming berries from a coffee tree. And then this knowledge spread like wildfire to other goat herders and monks, and they noticed that coffee would help them stay awake for long periods.
They were good goats, not bad. I'm done. So there are different types of coffee beans out there. A lot of people know, they've heard these terms, but they don't know the differences between them, and that's what we're going to talk about. So the first ones, some of the most common ones, or are the most popular types out there, these are the Arabica coffee beans. These are the most popular. They've been grown since 1000 BC. These beans are generally oval in shape, and their pronounced center has a crease in them, and they tend to be larger than some of the other beans like the Robusta beans.
Robusta beans are commonly grown in Africa, Vietnam, and Indonesia. Robusta has lower acidity than Arabica coffee, meaning it generally tastes much less sweet. And due to the Robusta bean's simpler acidity and deeper and stronger flavor compounds, it can produce tones of wood or burnt rubber. It's a popular choice for espressos due to that rich flavor and the layer of crema that it gives.
Do you like coffee?
Yes.
I like coffee.
I don't have it every day, but I do maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
I do 1 cup a week, but I have to put things in it, but not cream or sugar because I won't do that. I don't want the dairy, but I'll put cinnamon in it, and I do like that. Mm-hmm. But once a week in college, I drank a lot of coffee,
sure.
And I was always jittery, and I just never blamed the coffee. And then I realized when I stopped drinking coffee, I stopped being jittery, and I was like, I didn't know better then. And I don't think a lot of college people do, because all they ever do is walking around with a cell phone in one hand and a coffee cup in the other.
Just trying to make it
through. In their
through.
third hand, they have a book.
Yeah.
So difference between coffees, again, differ between the regions. Each region of the world will produce coffee that will have different taste profiles with it, such as the conditions and the altitude, the climate, the soil, where it's being processed. That all changes the flavor in them, and some will be more sweet, some will be more fruity, some will be more acidic. But more than 70 different countries in the world produce coffee. So when we think about most coffee shops where they're talking about coffee from the Middle East or coffee from Africa, there's actually 70 different companies, but majority of the top producers of coffee in the world are Brazil, Vietnam, Colombia, Indonesia, and Ethiopia.
Brazil by far is the largest producer of coffee, producing 40% of all the beans. And Hawaii is the largest coffee producer in the United States. Puerto Rico is number 2.
Have you ever been to a coffee plantation?
No.
Yeah, they're actually a lot of fun. We did the one in Hawaii, and they would let you pick beans right off the tree and try them. And I'm like, amazing. It's really tasty and everything. And I used to do the dairy-free chocolate covered, because I don't like the dairy part, but the chocolate covered beans, and they're really good.
So did they call them fruit, or did they call them beans?
I think beans.
Beans? Okay.
I would. So the different types of regions, again, play a role in the flavor profile. So the Latin America flavor profile tends to be more chocolatey, more nutty, kind of that caramel taste. In Africa, they tend to be more floral, more sweet, more fruity, versus in Asia, they tend to be more earthy, more herbal, and more of that dark chocolate taste when you get your coffee beans from there.
So what types of coffee are there? Probably everybody knows what a drip coffee is. It's what we make at home most of the time, and a lot of the convenience stores and even coffee shops. Standard 12-ounce cup of drip coffee will contain 120 milligrams of caffeine. And opposed to espresso, this is the most popular coffee drink in the entire world. That's espresso. It originates from Italy. It's produced by forcing small amounts of boiling water through finely ground coffee beans. This is 6 to 8 times stronger than drip coffee. A standard 2-ounce shot of espresso will contain 80 milligrams of caffeine.
So when you go to your Starbucks and you order, I'll have my quadruple espresso latte with cream foam and sugar and 12 shots of whatever else you throw in there. Just imagine you're never going to sleep ever again. But it's funny. I knew somebody who worked at a coffee shop, and he would tell me some of the things people would order when they go there. And it's like, how did they ever figure that even out? They're like, I want to do this plus 2 shots of this plus 3 of these. And I'm like, there's no way they can figure that out. There's 18 flavors in that cup of coffee. It's just, I'm impressed by it. And the fact that they can get it right. But he said that's the truth, though, is that they would screw that up because it's a ridiculous order. And then the customer would yell at them because they couldn't figure out that they needed 3.5 shots of this and 12 shots of this and 6 sprays of that. All while there's probably 1/4 of an inch of actual coffee in there. And then it's got whatever foam flavor they got of the month now. I don't know.
That's probably 40% of the Starbucks orders.
I'm a pain in the ass when I go. I'm just like, I'll have a black coffee. Do you want anything in it? No. They don't know what to do. They look at me like, that's not coffee. And I'm like, no, that actually is coffee. My once a week. But there are different types of espressos out there depending on what you want. And each different espresso is going to be based on how much water content, how much espresso is actually in there, how much milk is in there, all of the different components of the espresso. There's 9, 10 different types of actual espresso out there. And believe it or not, if you go to the coffee places, they know how to do that. I don't even know how to say it.
Is two S's equal an X? Is it a, yeah, I get it.
I just be like, you're drinking coffee. You know what they have at, it was an old joke where they're like, what do they have at KFC? Chicken. You know what else they have? Chicken. We're going to have coffee.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning into Your Health is Wealth. We're the doctors from Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Every single week I do a segment called What Isn't Your Doctor Telling You? This is not an anti-doctor segment. However, if your doctor's not actually helping you because they don't spend any time with you in the room, you're probably not going to get a lot of your questions answered, and therefore you might not know certain things. So I'm going to try and give a tip every single week, and we will go from there. This week, since we're talking about coffee, why don't we talk about the best time to drink coffee if you're going to do that? Now, if you ask a panel of 100 people, you'll probably get 110 people say you should drink it first thing in the morning. However, when you drink coffee first thing in the morning, it's actually not helping you. Now, mentally, you might think I need my cup of coffee in the morning in there, but it's actually not helping you. It could actually be hurting you when it comes to your hormones because it tricks your body into producing more cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, but it also helps a lot with adrenaline. Your cortisol is supposed to be higher in the morning. So when you have high cortisol in the morning, you have the ability to get up, go, and function. But if you start drinking your coffee first thing in the morning, you trick your body into producing cortisol because of the coffee, which means your natural production of cortisol will start to go down. When that happens, it means you become more addicted to that cortisol from your cup of coffee, which means your body will not produce it on its own. It's waiting for that cup of coffee. So what actually happens after the morning dose of cortisol, your cortisol starts to drop as the day progresses and you get tired afternoon or late morning. So your actual better time to start with your cup of coffee for most people, not everybody, of course, is later morning. If you're going to do it, because then you're going to actually help your body with the natural cortisol without affecting that early morning production from your sleep. On the other hand, it is addictive, and therefore, is it better to start at all if you can avoid it? The answer is don't start at all if you can do it.
Yeah, I was doing something right and didn't even know it.
Yeah, go us.
All right. Organic coffee. Let's talk about that. So organic is free of pesticides and artificial fertilizers. Organic coffee reduces the risk of harmful chemical ingestion. USDA certified organic coffee contains vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. So things that are actually good for you. If you have an organic field next to a conventional field, your organic coffee beans will inevitably have some of those chemicals and pesticides that are from the conventional field because there's runoff. There's only one earth. So whenever water gets evaporated into rain and then rain comes down again, it's the same water. So just be aware of that. But organic farmers do use a safer, less toxic way of growing coffee.
And there's actually been lawsuits where the companies would have their products growing that are not organic. Wind would carry, but they would have their particular product, like their GMO product, would be copyrighted. And it would get onto the organic fields because of wind and air, and then they would get a sample and see some of the copyrighted product would be in the organic because of wind. They would sue the organic farms, win the lawsuit, and then the organic farms would be screwed because they didn't do anything wrong, but the wind carried the copyrighted product into their field. So again, money wins out, unfortunately, on a lot of the FDA rules out there. So decaf coffee, is there actually such a thing as decaf coffee? The answer is no. There's no such thing as 100% decaf coffee, as they naturally contain some caffeine. They do a decaf process in which it carries out most of that, but there's still always going to be a little bit of caffeine in the decaf. Despite being referred to as decaf, again, it will always have a little bit. That being said, if you do need your cup of coffee because of taste and you don't want the stimulant effect, then the decaf becomes a much easier product to use and organic again.
All right, so let's talk about Kopi Luwak. So this coffee is made from beans that have been digested by an animal called the Asian palm civet.
Civet.
Why don't you talk about this?
So this one actually got some notoriety. Most people have never heard of Kopi Luwak, but there was a movie called The Bucket List with Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. And Jack Nicholson's character was a multimillionaire, and he would drink this coffee every single day and had no idea it was made from animal poop. And that's essentially what this stuff is. It's hand filtered. It's super elite coffee brewed with spring water, hand filtered through a bed of volcanic rock. It is the most expensive coffee in the world, and it is made from poop. Typical price per cup is $35 to $100 per cup. So it's your 12 Starbucks in one. And that's not even for a full cup. That's for a small amount of this poop.
That's just so bizarre.
Gotta love it.
All right.
I want to know who was on that taste testing table. Let's try this animal's feces and see what it tastes like. And then we pick out the best animal's poop to make our cup of coffee. And the civet won.
Let's talk about some stats on coffee consumption. So 3 in 4 Americans drink coffee every day. 49% of people drink 3 to 5 cups of coffee a day. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. 1 in 2 Americans prefer medium roast. 68% of Americans do not drink decaf. In 2022, the U.S. population spent an average of $270 per person on coffee. Oh my gosh. More than 70% of consumers prefer to prepare their coffee at home. That's me. I prefer that.
A heck of a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Especially with a coffee shop on every corner where the average price is $6-7 a drink versus a cup of coffee at home is about a dime.
And healthier. You can choose what you put in it.
Now they got those Keurig machines that have been around for a while where they found a way to take a home cup of coffee and turn it into $1 and put it in plastic. And then you heat up the plastic into your cup of coffee. Coffee should be like a nickel, a dime for a cup of coffee at home. No, we're going to take these cups and we're going to make it $1 a cup
And make it toxic because
and
you're
make it
heating
more
up.
toxic with the plastic. Good old America, we did it again. But 50 customers actually want to buy ethical coffee. Most of them don't know what true ethical coffee is. Whether you want to get it from Ethiopia or Africa or wherever it is, just pick your country and then go from there. But 167 million 60-kilogram bags of coffee were consumed in 2020, 2021. That's a lot of coffee. And the biggest consumers of coffee in the world, they're not America, because we don't actually drink coffee in this country. We drink lattes, which have a little tiny bit of coffee in there. But the Finnish people drink the most coffee in the world per person.
All right, let's talk about the good parts of coffee. So coffee beans have important nutrients like B vitamins. So riboflavin, pantothenic acid, niacin, a lot of other nutrients like potassium, manganese, and magnesium. Coffee contains antioxidants and caffeine, which is not always a bad thing. Caffeine and these antioxidants have a wide range of health benefits when consumed in moderation. That's the key, and at the proper times during the day. There are two chemicals in coffee, caffeic acid and chlorogenic acid, that reduce inflammation and part of the antioxidant capacity. And that's what actually prevents cell damage and reduces free radical activity.
Energy, of course, is the number one reason why someone's going to drink coffee. Because it's a stimulant, it will increase your energy, but it is an adrenaline spike that it's doing. So you're going to get that increased adrenaline, so you get that big boost pretty quickly after doing it. But it will block certain neurotransmitters in the brain that cause calming, which is why it helps with the stimulant aspect. But again, when you give the body too much stimulant too frequently, the natural stimulation in our body goes down.
So improving cognition, this is why a lot of people, besides the energy, why a lot of people drink coffee. It helps sharpen your mental focus. It increases concentration. So, and that's because of the caffeine content. Sometimes this can be associated then with a mental crash if you've consumed too much coffee and it's kind of a regular process of yours. But interestingly enough, Alzheimer's and dementia and even Parkinson's disease caffeine has shown to have a significant impact on lowering the risks of these disease. So studies show the elderly people who consume coffee on a regular and moderate basis are less likely to develop Alzheimer's, dementia, and being affected by Parkinson's disease.
Yeah, it's getting the dopamine, which deals with focus, firing up. And with Parkinson's, they lack that dopamine response. With weight loss, because it's an energizer to the system as a stimulant, it's going to boost up your metabolism by around 10 to 11%, which can help people when it comes to weight loss. But it's also going to get you off the ground because you're not sitting down all day because you have all this energy, and you're going to actually do some more exercising.
Yeah, some people will actually use it to maximize those fitness goals before they work out. As far as heart health goes, so research has shown that regular coffee drinkers can actually reduce the risk of having a stroke. In women, it tends to lower the risk of heart diseases, but it may increase your blood pressure temporarily. That does not mean that you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke, but it can often work to clear out the system, keep your heart functioning at an optimal level. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and with diabetes, studies have shown that people who consume coffee regularly will have a 23 to 25% chance of lowering the developing type 2 diabetes. So again, that's real coffee. If you're talking about the crappuccinos, that's what I do at home, the lattes and all the sugary ones, that's going to raise your risk of type 2. Here are the doctors from Naturopathic Physicians Group, and we today are talking about coffee.
So earlier, Dr. Katz talked about the appropriate time of day to drink coffee, be about late morning, maybe early afternoon. Let's talk about why that is. So the half-life of coffee is approximately 5 hours. That means it takes 5 hours for your body to metabolize or completely or half eliminate the amount of caffeine that you drank. So if you have a coffee at 8 a.m., half the caffeine will be gone around 1 p.m. It will be a few more hours until about 100% of that caffeine has been eliminated. So if you're having coffee in the later afternoon, say maybe around 2 p.m., you still have at least half that caffeine in your system at 7 p.m. Your body's still working on eliminating the rest of that caffeine when you're trying to go to sleep. So keep that in mind. that everyone's metabolism is just a little bit different, and you could eliminate faster or slower, but coffee does have that half-life.
Yes, it does. And different ethnicities will break it down differently too. So it can be some people it lasts longer and some people it's shorter. But when it comes to benefits of coffee, metabolism, the significant levels of B vitamins will improve metabolism and help. We talked a little bit about it when it comes to weight loss earlier, but it's also got some liver protectants. When you're drinking real coffee, consumption has been linked to improved liver health, especially in the prevention of conditions like hepatitis, cirrhosis, or fatty liver. One study even showed that regular consumption resulted in an 80% reduced chance of developing cirrhosis in the liver.
Good news. Coffee also has anti-cancer potential. A 2009 study has linked coffee to a lower risk of many types of cancers like liver, kidney, premenopausal breast cancer, and colorectal cancers. So that's wonderful. Coffee also reduces depression. The natural effects of coffee can do wonders for somebody suffering from depression. It has even been connected to a reduced occurrence of suicidal tendencies. Coffee lightens up the mood, relieves stress, and therefore, in most people's opinion, improves your quality of life.
Yeah, it stimulates dopamine, and dopamine is your pleasure sense. But dopamine is also the neurotransmitter most linked to causing a dependency. So too much of that pleasure brings on the pain. No, I'm just kidding. And then I really have to stop. Antioxidants. It's a huge antioxidant. It's one of the most famous reasons why people will say, I drink coffee, not just for the stimulant. They know that it's addicting, so they'll say, I also heard it's good for you. It's an antioxidant. Now, that is correct. Organic, clean coffee is a major antioxidant, and it's really good for your overall health. However, your non-organic, garbage, sugary-filled, dairy-filled coffee is not. So again, quality matters because real good quality coffee is also linked to reduced mortality. It helps. There's been studies that show it improves cardiovascular disease. We've talked about cancer, diabetes, and other serious problems. So again, if done right, can be helpful.
So multiple sclerosis, this is interesting. Regularly consuming coffee helps protect you against the development of MS. Studies say that it prevents or inhibits neural inflammation, which is a major cause of MS. Also, eye care. That chlorogenic acid that I talked about earlier in coffee helps prevent retinal damage. It acts as that antioxidant that we keep talking about, reduces the oxidative stress that affects the functioning of the eye. Coffee improves creativity by stimulating improved focus due to that dopamine, and also coffee helps gut health. It contains several compounds that act as prebiotics, which a prebiotic is something that nourishes the good bacteria in the digestive system.
Anybody who drinks coffee knows after you drink your coffee, you go have a poop.
That's the stimulant effect.
It's a stimulant effect. So again, gut health. If somebody is constipated, coffee is one of the things you can use to help that. Now, I hear this all the time. They're like, yep, I have my cup of coffee in the morning, then I have my morning BM, and it's clockwork. And yes, and if they have 3 cups of coffee a day, they can have 3 bowel movements a day, but that doesn't mean it always works out scientifically that way. But that being said, it is a real stimulant to your bowel, and I hear it all of the time. Now, we just talked about all the good things of coffee. Let's ruin coffee for you. So let's talk about the bad of the coffee. Number 1, addiction. Coffee is an addiction. Too much caffeine can be very hard to get off of. And anybody who says that they have to have their cup of coffee in the morning, all those t-shirts out there, all those towels out there that said, I am not human before I have my cup of coffee, or don't talk to me before I have my cup of coffee, or I'll kill you before my cup of coffee, and everything in between. Yes, it is a major addiction. Without it, you will have symptoms like headaches, anxiety, fatigue, trouble concentrating. All of those are symptoms of caffeine withdrawal.
Bad things about coffee will affect the thyroid and hormones. So drinking coffee while you're struggling with thyroid, adrenal, hormone issues can actually make the problem worse, especially if you're drinking coffee first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, which is what we talked about earlier.
Pregnant women, it can increase risk of miscarriages. It also has been linked to low birth weight in children. I've heard a lot of people tell me that their doctor, their OB said it was okay for them to drink coffee in moderation, or it was okay if they do decaf. Again, decaf coffee still has some caffeine in there, and telling somebody in moderation is always person dependent. If you're a person that drinks 5 cups of coffee a day and they tell you in moderation, they're probably doing 1 or 2 a day. So again, be careful when you say that. If it increases the risk of miscarriage and low birth weight, it's better to say no.
Yeah, you don't want to take that chance.
Exactly.
Coffee can affect your daily clock. Drinking coffee in the evening or late at night, we already talked about this, can keep you awake for hours due to that half time with the coffee. And digestive problems, we touched on this too. The production of stomach acid might be stimulated by drinking coffee on an empty stomach. However, the body's digestive system is significantly disrupted by the production of this stomach acid, leading to the symptoms like indigestion, bloating, nausea, etc.
How about anxiety? If you're an anxious person and you have too much adrenaline already, I don't think adding more caffeine is going to help that problem. You're probably going to be more wired, and that does happen. And what about sleep? If you're one of those people that don't break caffeine down very well, if you drink your cup of coffee in the morning, it could still affect your sleep that night. Or if you're one of those ones where I drink coffee throughout the day and they have it with dinner, and there's plenty of people out there that do that, that can be what's causing your insomnia as well.
And dehydration. So coffee depletes electrolytes from our system. My sister-in-law, she says, I drink water. There's water in my coffee. No, that's not how it goes. So coffee is made in water, but you can't count it as part of your water intake because it is a pretty big diuretic. So it flushes water out of your system rather than replacing it.
Now, what about testing? How do you know if coffee is okay for you? You can test it. You've heard us, I think, once or twice in the past talk about food testing. So when we do our food testing, coffee is on there. So is tea. So when we test this, we can let you know whether or not your caffeinated beverages are causing problems when you eat from an inflammatory standpoint. Again, there are benefits. There's also potential problems with it. This will actually tell you if it's an immune system problem towards coffee.
You mentioned earlier your ethnicity could affect your metabolism of caffeine. Asian and African populations metabolize caffeine at a slower rate than Caucasians. And so that means that it will stay in the system longer. So if you consume more, it's likely to cause side effects for you. It'll hit you faster and it'll stay in your system longer.
And there's also genomic testing on whether or not your body is able to metabolize caffeine well. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail on that, but there are ways to find out if you're able to break the caffeine down properly. If you are suspecting that it may be a problem, it might be something worth looking into.
Yeah, I feel like they have a gene for everything now. It's only going to get better. Genetic testing is
Except
cool.
genes that fit comfortably.
Yeah, that. So if you feel like you're just not getting to the bottom of your health issues with your current doctor, give us a call at Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, Arizona.
And so since we are doctors, we're going to talk about how it's used in medicine. So there's a thing out there called coffee enemas. Now, we're never telling you to start things, stop things, plug things, unplug things. We're just giving you some advice. Or we're not giving you advice. We're giving you information that we have used with our patients at different times. But remember, we teach everybody individually when we are seeing our patients. So the things we do talk about on here are just different things we've used in our past. So coffee used in medicine, coffee enemas. Please make sure if you are doing this under the care of a prescriber. This is something that people have ended up in the emergency room because they have done this incorrectly. A coffee enema involves injecting room temperature coffee into the rectum. Sounds like fun. Good cup of coffee, right? Yeah, don't drink it afterward. In the process, why this is helpful. It's a detoxer. It can help with the liver health. It can help with your immune system. It can stimulate bile flow because when you go rectally, it goes right to the liver. And it can help with detoxifying. It's good for energy. It has been shown to help with yeast overgrowth. It's an anti-parasite. It does a lot of different things. It helps even remove heavy metals out of the body. It does a lot of different things. However, because it is coffee and is a major stimulant, people have died from this and people have done this incorrectly. Also, people think, oh, why don't I just brew a cup of coffee and shove it up my... There. The truth is people have burnt themselves doing that. The key on that, room temperature.
This sounds like a great idea.
This is not my go-to, but people do use this as a part of medicine.
Now, yeah, I know there are many people that do this and they swear by it.
And they've been trained to do it properly. And the side effects of that, again, death. That's a pretty bad side effect. I don't think you can come away from that one.
Were you in the class in school that you had to choose a detox method, and this was one of the things that you could choose to do and then write a report about it? And
Probably. Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, I didn't choose this one.
I probably would have if I was in that class, because this would have been a fun one to talk about. But again, nausea, vomiting, cramping, bloating, dehydration, perforation, burning. These are all possible side effects. But if someone does this right, under the care of a doctor, can have some amazing benefits. I know people that swear by this stuff.
This even treats depression. That's pretty cool. Okay, so there is homeopathic Coffea cruda. It is a mainstay in the homeopathic world. Its benefits include easing sleeplessness, insomnia, addictions, toothaches, headaches, fainting due to overexcitement. These are typical homeopathic symptoms that we're naming here. Labor pains and other pains brought on and worsened by a nervous system overdrive.
Painkillers, lots of over-the-counter headache meds will have caffeine in them. Generally, one of the leading causes of headaches in this country are caffeine depletion due to addiction to coffee. So these are the people that when they drink their cup of coffee in the morning, their headache goes away. So they also put caffeine in a lot of the headache pills. So, pop another pill, right?
Let's talk about the best way to drink coffee. So always drink in a cup. Yeah, always organic. Coffee is one of the most heavily sprayed crops with pesticides. And the pesticides should not be a part of your coffee. We could list all of those pesticides, but they're just scientific words that don't matter anyway. You should grind your coffee beans at home prior to brewing instead of buying pre-ground and brewing it in a French press. This is my preferred way. This is what I like to do. And many coffee drinkers prefer the French press method. I think it just tastes better. More of the coffee's oils and flavors are naturally extracted during this method. Seems to be richer and bolder.
And it's been touched by somebody French. It sounds like a good deal. They know their cups of coffee. No, French press is awesome. You can even French press tea. And tea French pressed is awesome.
I do that as well.
The flavors are amazing when it comes to, they get all the flavor out of whatever herb or tea you're using. And we used to go to a place in Glendale they would French press every cup of tea you'd get there. And it is so much better than the crap you get at most tea shops now. Coffee alternatives. This would be used if you do that food test and you find out you are allergic to coffee, or if you're trying to avoid the caffeine. So one of the things people use out there is dandelion. Now, dandelion does not taste exactly like coffee. It's kind of diuretic, just like coffee, though, so it's going to make you want to pee. But it is also a detoxifying property. It helps with inflammation. It aids with constipation, as well as has those those prebiotics properties that support your gut health. It's also been linked to helping people with type 2 diabetes.
I've tried this. Have you tried it?
I love dandelion tea.
The coffee, though, the dandelion coffee, it's a powder that you get.
Don't they just use the dandelion root the same way?
It's definitely different than the tea.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've done dandelion tea.
Yeah. I don't like the dandelion coffee powder that they have out there. I've tried to like it.
To me, there's better tasting ones out there than dandelion if you're trying to get a taste that's closer related to coffee. And most people aren't going to jump coffee to go to dandelion. That being said, people do that.
There's also mushroom coffee out there. I think this is trending right now. It's kind of huge. But there are some benefits to this coffee alternative. Mushroom coffee will help you sleep better. And I know a lot of people, especially menopausal women, they have trouble sleeping. Mushroom coffee will help reduce stress, also reduces inflammation. Mushrooms are really great at helping you strengthen your immune system, great for memory, increases your energy levels, and also relaxes sore muscles.
Probably the most common substitute to coffee that people like, and even some blends of coffee out there have this in there as well, is chicory root. Chicory root provides several nutrients, manganese, B6. It helps improve blood flow and brain health. I guess I need some of this when I'm saying blood flow. It's got fiber in there through the inulin in there. It helps with weight loss. It's beneficial for gut health. It has been shown to lower blood sugar, anti-inflammatory. It's naturally caffeine-free. It's kind of got that bitter taste like coffee does, but not in a bad way. It's got a similar taste to it, but it's definitely not the same as coffee. But I know I believe it's the famous coffee shop in New Orleans, Du Monde, and where they sell basically donuts and coffee. And I believe their blend, if I remember, is a blend of regular coffee and chicory root, and it's one of the most popular things in New Orleans. But chicory root is often blended with coffee as well because it has a similar kind of bitter, acidic taste to the coffee as well.
I'd be willing to try this. I'm waiting for my latest food panel results to come back. So if coffee's still hanging out there and a moderate, I might have to make a change.
Yeah. Now, supplements, theanine, this helps reduce the overstimulation effects of caffeine. So if you are one of those people where you get that overstimulant effect from caffeine, theanine is a supplement we have used with our patients to help calm that effect. But if you are getting the overstimulant effect from caffeine, treat the cause, stop the coffee. Save your money on the supplement.
The supplement theanine is fantastic for people who have that overactive brain when they lay down and go to bed at night and they're thinking about everything that they could possibly think about, like that comment that they made 10 years ago that might have hurt somebody's feelings, or the road. And theanine's really great for that. And it doesn't provide the caffeine that makes you not go to sleep.
And as a man, I never have a problem with overactive brain. So from that standpoint, is coffee good or bad? The answer, as with so many things, it depends. Quality, organic, plays a big role. If you have other medications you're taking, if you have other medical conditions, it can cause problems since caffeine is a drug. How much you're drinking, what are you putting in your coffee? Is it your garbage you get from the coffee shop that's got more sugar and cream than actual coffee? That's going to play a major role in the health of coffee. So it just depends, like so many different things. Treat the cause and you can heal. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to being back here.